All right, and we can do that anytime. I just thought it would be, since it's kind of getting topical and we didn't have, we don't do much sports anymore. I just thought it would be fun.
There hasn't been sports in a while.
Well, I know, but sports are dead.
We could have done the Olympics and talked about that guy's dick getting caught on a bar.
Yeah.
I
saw that one.
Turkish, John Wick.
Yeah, the Turkish shooter's John Wick, whatever.
We started doing
mimicking him now.
Yeah. Before we decided to do the riffs, that was what I was going to have us do for a podcast episode, is talk about some of the shenanigans there, and he was definitely going to be one of them.
I mean, he looked like he just got pulled up
done
to the arena.
Cigarette.
Just pulled up to the arena, just put the cigarette out, walked in, grabbed the gun, just went.
Yeah, that guy kills people in Turkey.
I'm going back to my hotel now.
That guy kills people in Eastern European countries.
Allegedly.
No, he is
all
from
right, boys.
Eastern European countries.
That's gonna do it for me.
Killing. Okay, bye, Jerry.
I'm going to bed. Y'all talk some wrestling.
I was about to say, before you left, I was about to say, I'm surprised no one's brought up the fact that I literally called every match last week.
I was texting Cac. I said, you're a prophet. Or Cac said, you're a prophet. 7 out of 7. Even the stuff you got wrong wasn't necessarily wrong. You're like, I think here's what's going to happen. And then this is going to happen. And then maybe this might happen. And then your maybe this might happen didn't happen.
Yeah.
So I was like that's like 2.5 out of 3.
Yeah, it was like 98%.
I'll give it you 98.
Because what was the two things that I missed? Because there was only two. It was
the not Trish Stratus.
Yeah, Tiffany Stratton
cashing in. Which you technically were correct. She came out to cash in. She just got knocked off the apron. She didn't get to do it. But
my prediction was after the match, she was going to go down to celebrate with Nia Jax, and then cash in, hit her with the briefcase and then cash in. But, hold that till WrestleMania. But then there was another thing. I forgot what it was. Paul Heyman and Jimmy Uso not coming out with Roman Reigns.
Yeah,
but that was just a wish. That was
I don't consider that like an X. It was like he's gonna come out, and I wish you would have these two people with him. And he came out, and you got it. He was on SmackDown tonight too.
Yeah, I have yet to watch.
I haven't seen it yet, but I gotta watch it.
I had it pulled up behind me here. Or in front of me here. All right, boys. I am going to watch a couple YouTube videos, and then I am turning in for the night.
Into what?
A chicken.
Brother Taker.
All right, good night, guys.
Night.
Oh, I guess I didn't predict Finn Balor turning on Damian Priest, but I wasn't caught up on the whole Finn storyline at that point. So
yeah. You did really good. You called all the stuffs. I thought about making a quick video of TJ got everything right.
Well, apparently there's been a lot of hate going around because there's it's predictable. It's very predictable.
Yeah.
And it's listen, not everyone who's saying it's predictable watched our reaction, our podcast, or whatever. So how do y'all know it was predictable?
Oh.
I'm the one who called all the shit.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen anyone else calling all the shit.
Nope. I saw Dave Meltzer be like, "That's a real predictable event." He also said he didn't like it because there was too many wrestling angles and not enough wrestling. But that's what WWE. Yeah, his complaint was there was too much professional wrestling at the professional wrestling event.
That's stupid. He's an AEW guy, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he just wants a bunch of nonsensical matches that are really good, really entertaining, and no actual storylines. I want the storylines. That's what I want.
He wants gymnastics.
Yeah.
Even though he was critical of an NXT match between two women that he referred to as gymnastic.
Yeah. See, I like the storylines. There's got to be a reason for the match.
Well, he likes the storylines when they're on AEW, and he likes the gymnastics when they're on AEW. But when WWE does them, it's too much gymnastics, or it's too much storylines.
Yeah. I mean, there's having a wrestler come out and having a match. That's fine. That's filler. You watch it for the stories. And some of the story is told in the ring, which is what you got.
Well, apparently Orange Cassidy came out to AEW Dynamite this week with 5 bracelets that looked very much like CM Punk's on. So all the AEW Twitter bots were like, "Oh, guess Orange Cassidy has 5 times the story that the CM Punk Drew McIntyre feud have," because they're stupid. Because AEW is stupid. And the fans of
apparently there's some kind of issue with WBD losing money. So
how could they be losing money paying extraordinary cost for a show that does not make the profit in return?
Exactly.
But
like,
what
I mean,
are you even talking about?
Well, there was something like apparently like their net loss for like the quarter or something like that was so extreme. They're talking about like, and I don't know how accurate this is. I just saw it on it was probably like WrestleMania or something. I was watching where they were talking about it, and could spell bad news for a new TV deal for AEW, and I'm like, good, because that shit's crap.
So Tony Khan's gonna get on a press conference call here shortly and be like, WWE's PR team is saying this stuff, because he did that during Ring of Honor's media call, where he said, I just want to address this, even though he wasn't asked a question about it. I just want to address this.
It's like
WWE's PR team.
Yeah, nobody asked, dude. No one even knows what the hell you're talking about.
And
Stop
also,
doing coke before you come out here.
Yeah, and what do you mean by WWE's PR? Like, what do you mean by that? Like, what? Who in WWE's PR is putting that stuff out there?
Like, who was specifically hired in WWE to sit there and go, hey, let's spread some false rumors about AEW?
Yeah,
because they're sitting there thinking about AEW all the time. No,
but no, I made a mistake, and I made a comment on someone's thread about like how this is not what the president should be doing. A president of the company should be doing with their time. He should let other people do this. And AEW Marks came at me with the fury of the gods, TJ. It's exactly his position. WWE is the bad. It's like MovieWeb currently has a rage boner against Deadpool and Wolverine. They've recently released like 6 articles. It's only 2 articles, but they've released each one 3 times, or each one like twice. So like, it's like put out the same thing there. It's like Deadpool and Wolverine is sexist because you didn't like when She-Hulk twerked, but you liked when he NSYNC danced. Y'all are bad people. And then the other one was Deadpool and Wolverine's director isn't as good as Zack Snyder, because his DVD copies won't be as expansive. Okay.
First off, I completely forgot about She-Hulk twerking until you just brought it up. Like, that's how much of an impact that lasted. I mean,
well, you're sexist for feeling that way.
But I mean, it was a stupid show that was nonsensical, and they could have done something more with it, but they dropped the ball.
No, I agree, but we're sexist for feeling this way.
Well, dude, we're white males.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. We are sexist, TJ.
I mean, it doesn't matter what we do, what we say, what we feel. We're white males. We're going to be labeled as sexist.
Yes, but I want you to know that MovieWeb says that we are sexist. It's not even a question.
Yeah.
The article headline was, She-Hulk did this first, but sexist fans didn't like they literally articulated the title to make it seem like y'all didn't appreciate when a woman did it, but because a guy did it, it's not the same thing.
No. And keep in mind, the first Deadpool movie has him getting pegged. So just throwing that out there.
So this one, I don't think you've seen Deadpool and Wolverine, but
I've seen enough of it on YouTube, enough of people like filming it in the theaters, and to know a lot of what's going on. So like, I know a lot of the cameos and everything, and it's ridiculous. Like the amount of spoilers that this movie, over every single movie from the MCU, I have seen way more spoilers from this movie.
Yeah, well, it's sexist that you've seen those spoilers, TJ. I don't know what else to tell you.
Like, I'm kind of at the point where I think like Ryan Reynolds probably paid people to go like and film it and do all these spoilers on YouTube just because of the marketing of it. I mean, why the hell not? Right? He gave them all Mint Mobile memberships. Like that's.
So I still can't believe how much of the stuff. I know it's all out there now, but how much of this stuff did not get leaked before it happened is astounding. Like half of the half of the cameos that pop up are things I was not expecting. It's a really good movie. And by that, TJ, let me clarify. I know we're not talking wrestling, but I might make this into a podcast episode. Just a little quick one. Now let me clarify, TJ. It is not a good story. The story of Deadpool and Wolverine is absolute nonsense garbage. There's no stakes. It doesn't make sense. There's plot holes everywhere. Time travel's a mess. Multiverses are a mess.
So basically, it's just like any MCU's Phase 4 and 5 story. No. There's no actual story or plot nonsense. It's just, hey, a lot of shit happens. Here it is.
Yes. So it's one of those things where it's an awful story, but a great movie, TJ. Like, you have to watch it because it's fun. The things that they do. So listen, I've learned from watching the movie, all I ever wanted was these two to be in the same universe and to have opening license ability to interact with other characters from that shared universe. And that's it. They just need to kill somebody and then fight each other. And then Deadpool tell jokes, Wolverine be a swarmy, furry man-beast, and everything else is inconsequential. There didn't need to be anything. Like a Prayer is used so exquisitely in this movie. The fact that we can now put different masks and hoods on comic book characters and do it in a way where the eyes are the white eyes and they look comic booky, but not in a bad way like what would have been previously done, gives me so much hope, because some of these characters look really good if you get them close to comic book accurate. And I am talking about Wolverine. He wears the yellow blue suit. You also see other versions, so I know you mentioned the Calverine, but you see other versions of
like the brown suit against Hulk.
Yes,
and then,
then you see like the
short
weird,
Wolverine,
the comic book accurate Wolverine to make sure everyone understands we don't want that short king. But then you get all these other Wolverines that are you get one that's wearing the weird,
the Age of
like,
Apocalypse one.
Yeah, the Age of Apocalypse. I couldn't think of what the comic book storyline was. And then you've got another one where he's crucified on an X, which is from a uncanny X-Men story with Reavers, which are the cyborgs from the Logan movie. The guys that are in the Logan movie, what they're based on are Reavers, which are cybernetic individuals who get their cybernetics because they've been mangled and mauled by the claws of Wolverine. and so they nail him to a crucifix and torture him. But I do like that he just walks in and is like, maybe this is a bad time.
Yeah. Like the poker one too, I guess the one like with the kingpin kind of looking one, yeah.
Yeah, and apparently that's a comic book accurate one too from another storyline. The attention to detail that they executed in this, like when he ends up in the Wolverine versus Hulk scenario, the comic book cover for that is Wolverine with his claws out, and you see the image of Hulk in the blades. They do that, and it's so cool, man. It's one of those movies that just shut your brain off and just go for the ride. And there hasn't been a lot of successful MCU movies that have nailed that formula. There's been a lot of shut your brain off so you can survive this torture. But this one, it's shut your brain off, watch the flashing images, and laugh.
Yeah.
Because they make a lot of references to everything. And the thing I also like about it is it's such a weird love letter / breakup letter with the Fox 21st or the 20th century Marvel verse. Because they basically, they poke fun at it, but they also like hold reverence for the characters and the actors that were involved in it, and that ties into some of the cameos that pop up in
Blade,
the movie.
Elektra.
God, I can't believe he appeared.
Sabretooth.
And the fact that Wesley Snipes appears is so multi-textually layered.
Yeah.
Because they make reference. because he's a fourth wall breaker, that old scamp Deadpool, makes reference to the fact that they've been in a movie together. And he goes, I thought you retired. which is him as his character back in Blade 3, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there was a lot of people that thought they hated each other from that. And Wesley Snipes was asked at Comic-Con, I think Comic-Con after all this, and it was known that he was in it. And he's like, no, man, that was just a joke we were doing. Ryan was like, hey, let's act this way. And I was like, okay, man, let's do it. And so, yeah, we've actually
For 20 years. 20-year long joke. Hey, it worked. Yeah, I mean, there's so many spoilers that are on the internet. Like, I'm pretty sure I've probably seen most of the movie by now.
You've probably seen all the really good parts.
Yeah, just
actually,
not in order.
If you haven't seen a scene with a bunch of Deadpools, you haven't seen a really cool part yet.
Was it the gold guns thing?
So that's part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's part of it. But like, what then
Peter Pool?
Yeah. What follows after that is really good. And then like you play a fun game of like not realizing in the moment who the voices of the Deadpools that are talking, and then finding out after the fact, holy crap, that person was in the movie. Which has all been spoiled by this point, I assume.
Yeah, they I know like Lady Deadpool is Blake Lively, and then
Blake Lively.
The kids, the Deadpools were actually his kids, yeah.
Yep.
And then I think Nathan Fillion plays one of them, and then
he's Headpool, the floating head Deadpool.
But then no, it was the movie If. That's what I was watching. I don't know if you ever seen it. It's one of Ryan Reynolds' movies. It's like
With
a family
imaginary
movie.
friends.
Yeah, it's like a family movie and everything. But I was sitting there like, it's got to be funny. I mean, to some point. And it was, nothing else to watch, so I was like, I'll watch it. Why not? And I watched it, and I guess the imaginary friend Kevin, which is the invisible one that doesn't have any speaking lines, people just trip over him. Like they actually credit in the movie as what's his name? The guy that played Vanisher.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah, they actually credit like Brad Pitt as Kevin.
Yeah. There's a part in it where Deadpool whispers to Wolverine, they're gonna make you do this until you're 90, and then that becomes a running joke. And now like that's the internet joke, is that people are talking about how they like Calverine, and then they'll add the addendum after Hugh Jackman finishes his 90-year commitment to Wolverine. Yeah, there is a chance that guy, like, what if he's been reinvigorated and he wants to go on another decade-long run as Wolverine? I know he's going to be 60 within that point, so it's probably very unrealistic, but he looks so good, and he is so good in this movie. So for as much as I don't like the story of the movie, there is a moment, and you may have seen this because it's also on the internet, and I'm pretty sure I've watched it on YouTube, where Wolverine and Deadpool are having a conversation in a car, and Wolverine tears, not physically, but verbally, into Deadpool, and it's one of the most intense delivered lines, like little intense speaking moments I've ever seen. And he does a moment where he like just gets so frustrated, he punches the top of the car, and it's just like, dang! And a lot of people are like, well, there's the Oscar moment for Deadpool.
I haven't seen the scene. Like, I've seen like...
Oh, that's one of those ones, wait till you can see the actual movie. It's such a good part of the movie.
Of course, most of the scenes I've seen were like in Hindi, and, like, I think Japanese was one of them, or, yeah.
Everything that Deadpool and Hugh Jackman do, pure absolute gold in the movie. There's moments where Deadpool is a car salesman. It's great. There's moments where he's throwing a party, where he's getting abducted by the TVA. All the moments with Deadpool are great. And I made a post on my Facebook. This is going to be, as soon as this gets home release, I am buying it up as quickly as I can. Like, this will be the next physical copy of something I own after a nice long drought. Which reminds me, I still have yet to buy Ghostbusters Afterlife, and I need to do that.
I need to do it too. because like
But I might hold off.
Well, I saw it at Walmart and it was like $30, and I'm like, ugh.
I'm gonna hold off till they do a twofer with Frozen Empire and Afterlife.
Oh, I've got Afterlife.
Ooh, or maybe they do like a whole box set of all the Ghostbusters.
I think they already have a two for Frozen Empire now.
I'll wait till it gets marked down then, TJ.
Yeah, like I think I'm gonna wait until like Black Friday, whenever like Walmart has all their sales and movies and stuff, because then maybe it'll be less. Because I went in, I was like, man, like I don't need to spend $30 on a DVD whenever I can just like rent it online. And I had Netflix, and I guess still subscribed to Netflix for that month, and I guess it dropped on Netflix, and I was like, I'll just watch it on Netflix. I'll get a physical copy later. But I have to complete the collection wherever it is behind me, and I have Deadpool 1 and 2 back here as well.
Life is a mystery. Dun, 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 dun. So apparently the soundtrack for Deadpool is also just rife with meta humor. Like they include Hugh Jackman's Greatest Showman song. But the one song missing from it is Like a Prayer, and Madonna didn't give them the rights to include it in the soundtrack because her plan is later this year she's releasing a 35th anniversary including that song, so she didn't want them to eat into her sales.
Nobody's gonna buy her 35th anniversary.
Nope. She should have got the royalty cut from putting it in this soundtrack.
Yeah.
She should have done that. I'm sure so apparently Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds had to like go and beg her to get approval to include the song in the movie, and I just like the thought of that. Also, the director Sean Levy, I don't know how to say his last name. I feel like that name Levy. I feel like I've heard it pronounced both ways, so I'm just not gonna guess how he wants to pronounce it.
Yeah.
But him and Ryan were talking to Kevin Feige, and they're like, hey, is there anything we can? And Kevin was like, I want this to be a full Deadpool movie. I want you not to feel like you're being handcuffed with anything. The only thing we don't want is you can't do the hard drugs. And then the quote is Sean said that him and Ryan's agreed, and then immediately went back and wrote all the jokes about cocaine at that point in time. And they have a lot of cocaine jokes. But no drug usage. A lot of cocaine jokes.
I was going to say, they didn't do a whole lot of drug usage in the other ones, did they?
There is a scene where Deadpool is covered in cocaine in, I think, the second one.
Yeah, but it's not like, they don't sit there and, chop out a line on a mirror and, snort it. I think there's a lot of talk in the other ones.
Well, I think he did Scarface a sizable amount of cocaine in the second one. But he's also wearing a mask, so it's not like you can actually see him inhale it.
Exactly.
And Blind Al.
Yeah, Blind Al would be like, yeah.
So there's one moment where Deadpool introduces Wolverine to Blind Al. He goes, Jesus, you call her that to her face? He's like, well, she's blind. Oh, it's so good, man. And so I know one of the biggest complaints is, oh, this invalidates the glorious ending that Wolverine got in Logan, and they're ruining stuff. Well, I think they do a good job of talking about how impactful that was, and they're not bringing that Wolverine
in too, yeah.
Yeah, but they're not bringing back that Wolverine. They technically bring back that Wolverine.
Well, yeah, the whole opening scene with the skeleton and yeah, it's not like I hadn't seen that yet.
Yeah, he's like, there's no way he's dead, so I'm just gonna dig him up and wake him up from his nap. And then it shows him with the skeleton, and he's just like, God damn it! Why'd you have to go and die? Yeah, no, it's good fun. It's good fun. There's a lot going on, and listen, there's no plot, so don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
They try to tell you there's a plot, and they want you to feel like there's a plot, but there really isn't. It's basically a Family Guy cutscene for 2 hours.
Nice.
It's just like, hey, Wolverine, hey, this is almost as exciting as the time we fought 20 Deadpools. And then it just cuts to him fighting 20 Deadpools. Hey, Wolverine, remember that time we found that ugly dog? And then it just cuts to them finding an ugly dog. This is almost as exciting as that time the TVA abducted us and said they were going to destroy our reality. And then it cuts to that. Remember that time we met the not Captain America, Chris Evans?
Yeah.
I will say they got me. They got me with that one. I thought it was going a different route. And then when he actually introduces himself, Deadpool's like, wait, what?
Yeah, I like how they brought back a lot of like the different franchise stuff. Like just
yeah, again, it's a love letter and a breakup letter to Fox.
yeah. I mean, like Elektra, the whole Gambit thing of it all. Like Channing Tatum, how he was supposed to have a Gambit movie and then didn't get to have the Gambit movie because the sale to Disney and it pretty much canceled the Gambit movie, and then he finally gets that chance to play Gambit.
So I don't know if I want him to be Gambit, but I will say this. I'll say 2 things about it. One, what it did is show me that I would like a comic book accurate depiction of Gambit. Nothing against Taylor Kish, but I want a guy wearing the purple and the stupid leather mask, looking like Gambit with the coat, the brown coat. I want that. I do want that.
See, that was my biggest complaint with all the X-Men movies, is there was no comic book accurate like X-Men outfits. Like the original trilogy, they were just like black leather stealthy outfits. And it's like, we're the X-Men, of course you can tell who they were based by, how they looked. But then like, they go to the X-Men First Class. And it was probably the only time they've had somewhat of a comic book accurate was with the First Class, because the original X-Men had outfits, had uniforms like that.
Yeah.
But then when they switched to, when Beast turned blue, I should say, then they started getting, different outfits. And then like they go all through all the other X-Men, movies to not have comic book accurate, except for one movie. I think it's after the Apocalypse movie, when they're all training and you see them for that one scene at the very end of the movie in the comic book accurate outfits, and then they go to Dark Phoenix and they don't have them anymore. And it's like, this is stupid.
Yeah. I like in X-Men 97 I don't, have you seen X-Men 97, the cartoon?
No, because I don't have Disney Plus.
It's a pretty good cartoon. I don't know if it's worth getting into Disney Plus, but if you ever do get back into Disney Plus, I think it's probably it's definitely the best continuation of a 90s cartoon I've ever seen. Yeah. And there is a moment where Cable gets his official X-Men attire and he's like, what's this? And Scott Summers is like, were you expecting black leather?
So wasn't at some point like Disney Plus and Hulu supposed to like merge into one app?
Yeah, I think so, but now they just do the bundle stuff.
Yeah, so I was waiting on that to happen before I got back into Disney Plus. Was like them to.
But now they're bundling HBO Max, Hulu, and Disney Plus like that. That's a tempting offer. That's a spicy meatball.
I already get HBO Max with my AT&T
phone plan.
Yeah, until AT&T decides to drop it, which probably
could be any moment.
Yeah, honestly, because they had it and they're like, okay, you sign up for this internet plan and then you'll have HBO Max for free. It's like, great. But then they're like, hey, upgrade to this internet plan. You won't have HBO Max for free, but the internet's so much better. And I'm like, fuck that. I'm keeping HBO Max. I'm keeping it until y'all just basically sit here and go, yeah, we're just not going to offer that anymore. We're just going to automatically opt you into another phone plan.
I just got an email today from Peacock letting me know that my subscription is about to change.
$13.99 a month or something.
Oh, so you do no ads. I do
yeah.
ads, and it's about to go from $5.99 to $7.99.
Yeah, I do no ads because, quite frankly, I don't like ads. Like, I got rid of Amazon Prime because Amazon Prime started charging you to get rid of ads. After all these years, thousands and thousands of years of Amazon Prime, where you can watch with no ads, and then they're like, well, we'll start putting ads at the first of it and at the end of it, but we won't put any ads during the show. And then now they're like, oh, we're going to put ads during the show, but if you want to get rid of them, pay us this extortion fee of $3.99 or something. And I'm like, oh God, it's only going to be, a matter of months before that $2.99 or $3.99 a month goes up to $6.99 a month, on top of the, already $14.99 a month that you're paying monthly, or the $150 that you're paying yearly. I'm like, this is absolutely ridiculous. I don't order shit from Amazon anymore because they kept screwing up and not delivering. I would order from Amazon thinking, okay, during COVID, it was great. During COVID, I can order something and I'd have it here the next day. And I'd be like, that's awesome. Now, after COVID, I guess they might have unionized or some shit. I'd order something and it would be like 2 weeks before the fucking thing would ship. And it's like, this isn't shipping from like, Zimbabwe or, fucking, China or something. It's literally shipping from a facility, in Texas or in Kentucky.
Oh yeah, Kentucky's a big one, yeah.
Yeah, like, it's shipping from an Amazon facility, and it's taking this long.
They're fulfillment centers.
Yeah, so it's taking this long to ship that? No, that's ridiculous. So I would cancel my orders after about a week of them not shipping. I'd go to Walmart and get it, and I decided that if it's something that I can't get at Walmart, I probably don't need it. And that's what a lot of stuff Amazon was stuff that I don't need. And so finally, after about 6 months of not ordering anything, I ordered something, and then it got lost in the mail. When I say lost in the mail, this is the thing that fucks it up. It's not really lost in the mail because at this point, Amazon was delivering shit themselves. So somehow they lost it themselves.
Yeah.
And after about 3 days, I was like, okay, well, this thing has been stuck in because it was also, they had the Oklahoma distribution, fulfillment center open. So it's shipping from Tulsa. So it's like, there's no way this can't be here like in a day.
I could just drive.
It's like, I'm literally, I could drive there and pick it up, or you can send a damn drone. I mean, I'm sure that'll, they'll go from, Ozark to Tulsa and back, but, and it was one of those, so I finally, after about 20 minutes of going through countless pages on Amazon.com to try to find a phone number of customer service to call, because I don't want to sit here and text or, email back and forth, because I want to talk to someone on the phone who's going to handle the shit right there, because I'm a little bit old school, I finally find this thing where it's like, hey, tell us if you want us to call you, put in your phone number, and we'll call you at the next available, associate. I'm like, fine, that's the closest thing I got. So I put it in, they called, and I was like, yeah, I don't have this. It's supposed to have been in today. What's the deal? And they're like, oh, well, it looks like it got lost. So, we can cancel and refund the order, or we can send out another one. I'm like, well, you can try sending out another one. That'd be fine, because what I ordered is actually something that I wanted. So go ahead and send out another one. And they sent it out, and like 2 days later, I got it. Great, cool, wonderful, whatever. But at this point, it was kind of like that was the last straw. And then, the last straw was the, short charging to get rid of ads.
So I'll say this, and I know it doesn't have all of the quality content, and there are ads, but there's something so... Tubi does it right. I don't know how they make money.
That's the ads, and that's how they do it. And that's the thing about, like, with Tubi. Like,
but the ads aren't bad on Tubi. The ads, no. I don't think they're terrible on Tubi.
No, they're not. And that's the thing. Like, if it's something that is actually free and you have to deal with ads, then I'm fine with that. But if it's something you're paying $150 a year, or $15 a month, or $150 a year, or however much it is, and they say, well, now you have to pay us another $5 a month to get rid of ads, and it's like, no, we're not going to play this game. There's maybe a few things that I might want to watch on your streaming service, and the rest of the stuff I bought, so I still have access to that. I'm just gonna keep whatever I bought on there, and you can go fuck yourselves.
Well, hey, are you a YouTube Premium person?
No, I will not give money to YouTube.
So I don't either, but enjoy it while you enjoy your ad blocker while you can, they're toying around with different methods to get past your ad blocker.
I don't have an
some of
ad
those
blocker on YouTube though. It's literally, it's like, you have that
you
first ad,
eat the
and
ads.
it's like, the
Yeah.
first ad is like 5 seconds, then skip, but then it plays the entire second ad, and then it's like,
they've also started doing ads that don't have a skip feature until like 30 seconds in, or they'll do you have 30 seconds and you can skip, but you're gonna get 4 ads within those 30 seconons, so you essentially skip the 4th ad after eating the first 3. But apparently for pop-up blockers, there's ways that they roll out the ads. They've been like a third-party type delivery in the past, and that's what the ad blockers block. But now they're going to the ads will be pre-baked into YouTube stuff, so it's like the ad blockers will have a more difficult time doing that. And in some instances, and this happens to me on Hulu, back when I used to watch Hulu on laptops at work. But for the ads that get skipped by the ad blocker, they don't skip the time. You just sit there with a black screen. So, hey, the ad is blocked, but you're not getting through with it. It's going to play out. It's just black. It's just a black screen where you're sitting there like, all right, I guess this is better because at least I'm sitting in silence and collect my thoughts as opposed to, do you want to buy a Jeep Grand Cherokee? No, I don't want to.
YouTube apparently changes their rules all the time and their terms of service and all sorts of stuff. So
yes, we love them so much, our YouTube overlords.
So like one of the channels that I would watch, and I mean it's just basic mindless nothingness. It's basically 2 people who just sit there and watch like TikTok and Reddit videos or something.
Yeah.
They sit there, that's all they do for like 20 minutes, and then just sit there and watch, and they're like, oh, okay. And I mean, apparently they got their channel canceled or taken down 3 strikes for stupid fucking reasons, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, well, I think someone at YouTube has it out for you, or they've literally let the AI bots take care of everything and no one actually works there. But then like they also, a lot of the other stuff is, I mean, I like guns. I mean, I watch a lot of gun videos. So now apparently they are heavily on the censorship of the Second Amendment at YouTube. So a lot of those videos have now been demonetized, and so when demonetized comes around, it means no ads.
Yeah. So we get demonetized a couple times, and it's clearly algorithm stuff that's picking up our things. Yeah. Because I'll have something I'll have something content claimed before I even finish publishing it. So I'm still in the process of typing the description and stuff like that, and then by the time I get to the end of it, it's like, Warner Brothers has claimed this content, and like a human hasn't. Like they just have a program that just searches for their video and audio. So I've learned that their audio search is much quicker than their video search. Their video search has come a bit delayed, but boy, God almighty, if you have anything WBD, audio or videoed, they're coming for your ass. So I hope they enjoy the 5 cents that we've helped them accumulate from our content. But yeah, we get copyright claims, and we try to appeal some stuff, and YouTube doesn't defend any small timers. Like we're not going to get any benefit of the doubts. But I also watch a big channel like Dead Meat, and like I've heard him talk about like, they've been copyright strike, which means that he probably went through the dispute process, was told no, tried it again, and they then struck him.
Well, like this channel that I was watching had like 2 million subscribers, so I mean it wasn't small by any means. But like they would get on there and they'd be like, we received a strike for this reason, so we can't post for 2 weeks. So like for 2 weeks they wouldn't post anything, and then maybe they like post something on Twitter or something. It's like, hey, we received a strike, so we're taking 2 weeks off.
Yeah. Well, so the crazy.
But like they would sit there and they would talk about, it's like, we tried to dispute the strike, and we had a guy that worked at YouTube that we can an actual person that can call and sit there and review it and go, yeah, that's not right, and then waive it or whatever. But then apparently that died down, and apparently that guy no longer works there, and so now they don't have any rep at YouTube that they can get a hold of, and it's all like automated. So like they got like a second strike at some point, and then like within like a couple days of their first strike being removed, they got a third strike for a video that happened, like the video that they published over a year ago. And it's like, how did you get a third strike for a video that for a year it was fine? And it was, I mean, it was stupid shit. And they're like, we only go on Patreon now. And I'm like, well, shit.
Yeah. And so here's the reality: to get a copyright strike, if you're live streaming, you can get struck quickly and in a hurry. But if you're posting previously recorded content, you get a claim.
Yeah.
And that claim can either let you know that the claimer is taking the monetization of your ads, or they can block your content. They can say, hey, no, you can't, that content won't be shown. And that block can be anywhere from regional to complete and utter block. That video is not going to be shown to a single person. And you can dispute or trim or edit or delete your video. So if it's audio, you can try to scrub out the audio, or you can trim out the clip that has the video and the audio and just see if that appeases them, or you can file a dispute. And so we file disputes, TJ. And then what happens is they can say they have a 30-day window to get back to you, and they don't have to give you a reason for why they say no. They can just say, no, you are expected to type out why this isn't infringing upon it. And we have something, we've typed it out, we let them know, like, hey, this is why we're doing this, there's context, it makes sense, if you watch the video I feel like it makes sense. And all they have to say is no, and then that ends the dispute phase. And then you are offered a chance to appeal that dispute. But should you appeal, TJ, and lose that appeal, you are going to have a copyright strike. And that is what is damaging to your channel. And YouTube lets you know very clearly, hey, this is their content. We don't have a say in this. They also don't have a say in helping you, and they don't seem interested in helping you. So
it's basically, it's a failed system. So they can sit there and they can basically do anything and anything they want to anybody's videos, but how much money in this ad revenue are they racking in? Like, I mean, how much cents does a creator get per ad?
I'm sure there's some number.
And how
out
much
there.
of that does Google make? Google doesn't give two shits. They're gonna sit there and they're gonna run those ads on it all they want. They're gonna collect all that money, and then they're gonna be like, well, sorry, bye. You already made us $1 million this week.
Yeah.
That's why I really have no interest in being a YouTube person, because it's just kind of like there's so much bullshit in it, and it's just like I'd rather just sit here and talk and do an audio podcast more than anything, because it's just
agreed.
Plus nobody wants to look at this, right? Nobody.
No. Also, like, comment, subscribe.
I definitely have a face for radio. Let's just
join the Three Lame Guys channel if you're listening to this on YouTube. And if you're not, go to our YouTube and help us get demonetized.
Yes.
But I mean, like, also.
And by the way, I'll just throw this out there. I very much want to stay out of politics when it comes to online, because there's so much hate and vitriol from each side. But if any candidate wants to pay me $20,000 to rep them, I won't say no. I can't guarantee it'd be a good endorsement, but I won't say no. But I'll take 20,000. I got bills. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I've made it clear numerous times that I will sell myself out. I hope to sell myself. My goal is to sell out, because once we sell out, that means we made it. And by made it, I mean money. And that's what I want. Because they say, TJ, money can't buy you happiness. But you know what they also don't say, TJ?
What's
is
that?
That money can buy you a lot of stuff that will in turn make you happy. And so I feel like that first one is wrong, because
There's a comedian. I can't remember his name, but he had this joke. Is like, say, money doesn't buy you happiness, but it buys you a jet ski. and you've never seen a sad person on a jet ski.
That sounds like Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah, it does, but it's like it's not like Brian Regan, but it's it may be. I don't know, but it's definitely it's a comedian.
That also sounds like Brian Regan. I can hear him saying that in his like goofy, dopey voice.
We always made a face whenever he's doing the spit, and he's like.
It could also be, oh God, what's his name? He's blonde hair, kind of a chubby guy. He does the hot pocket.
Yes, or like yeah.
Sometimes like he'll do his talk. I'll talk like this, and then I don't think he should talk like this. And like he has like very feminine voice.
Yeah, that's not him. I know who you're talking about. That's shit, what's his name?
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
Oh crap, he's got like a shit ton of Amazon like. Videos.
Yeah, I'm gonna call him Paul F. Tompkins. I know it's not Paul F. Tompkins, but that's the most recent comedian that I've seen. So I'm just gonna assume it's Paul F. Tompkins. What do you think, brother Taker? Listen here, brother. Maybe that's just Jared's name now.
Bug me now that I can't think of that guy's name. And I've seen a bunch of his.
Yeah, and he's in a bunch of stuff. Like he does a lot of voice acting too.
Yeah.
Just look up Hot Pocket joke.
Jim Gaffigan.
Jim Gaffigan, also known as Paul F. Tompkins. Also known as Joel McHale. Just kidding. Joel McHale is a big, tall, buff guy from Washington State.
I'm going to look up this money doesn't buy you happiness.
But it buys you a jet ski. I could be very happy on a jet ski. I don't want to be on a jet ski. A jet ski would not be happiness for me. You know what? I want enough money that I don't have to work. That is happiness for me, right? I just want to live my life however I see fit. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That would be ultimate happiness for me. Because that just shows you how confined and constricted our reality actually is. Of like, my joy would be to not be bothered by the encumbering presence of the normal expectations of every human. Work. Bills.
So it was Daniel Tosh.
Oh. Yeah.
Because it buys a wave runner. You ever seen a sad person on a wave runner?
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Seriously happy.
All right. Good job, Daniel Tosh.
Yeah, it's a good joke.
He started a YouTube podcast. I wonder if he's still doing that. He basically, after Tosh.0 got canceled, he had to wait for his show clause to end, and then he started up a YouTube series that is basically the Tosh.0 show, but he can't legally call it Tosh.0.
So, isn't that what like Conan O'Brien did when his contract was TBS was up? He's just like, I'm just not going to do this anymore. I'm just going to do a podcast. Because I guess the whole like COVID thing, they switched like formats.
Yeah.
And instead of like...
I do like that in his last season, he's like, all right, y'all are going to pay for me to go to Ireland. And he just like went to Ireland.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go to Africa. It's just like he went to Africa.
I miss
Andy's
Craig
going to do a
Ferguson.
dance. I miss Craig Ferguson too. And I appreciate that in his last season, he started like going on some travels and stuff.
Yeah.
No, I never watched the Craig Ferguson show in the moment because that was talk shows at night at my young age when Craig Ferguson was on.
Mm-hmm.
Talk shows at night were more just the reminder, I need to go to bed. Like,
yeah.
Like, as soon as those came on, I was like, oh, it's bedtime. It's time for me to fall asleep now. Let me set my TV timer to 30 minutes and zone out while Jay Leno or Conan O'Brien or David Letterman's doing something. Every now and then I try to stay up to David Letterman's top 10 because sometimes those made me laugh. Sometimes they did not make me laugh.
I would try to stay up, like if there was a band that I wanted to see on there or something. Like I remember one, it was Garth Brooks performing with Kiss on Jay Leno.
That's
like
a weird collection there.
Well, Garth Brooks was covering Hard Luck Woman, which is a Kiss song, and so I can't remember what it was for. It might have been for like a soundtrack or something, or it might have been for like a Kiss tribute album kind of thing or whatever. But he was covering.
It was probably one of their farewell tours.
Yeah, and it was it might have been like some kind of tribute album where like famous artists cover Kiss songs, put it on a tribute album form or something. I can't remember. There's a reason for it. Don't remember what the reason was, but I know Garth Brooks performed Hard Luck Woman on Jay Leno, and he performed with Kiss, and so. And I remember that. I remember it for the longest time. Of course, this is all pre-YouTube, and I tell people it's like, oh yeah, the time Garth Brooks performed with Kiss on Jay Leno. And it's like that never happened. It's like motherfucker, yes it did. I remember seeing it. And then after a while, you start questioning your own. It's like, did it happen? You know?
Yeah.
And then finally, you get to YouTube, and you're like, oh, there it is. There's the video. That's the thing I do like about YouTube is some, you remember something from 30, 40 years ago, and you're like, I got to see if that actually happened. And then you find the video of it. Like, I remember WCW Monday Nitro, going back around to wrestling. When Bill Goldberg was in Universal Soldier: The Return. Universal Soldier: The Return, their soundtrack, the main song on their soundtrack was a song called Crush 'Em by Megadeth. And so Goldberg made his return to Monday Nitro. And so they're like, we're going to have Megadeth come out and perform Crush 'Em. And I'm like, I remember that. And then every now and then I'll sit there and be like, I want to see that performance again because it was a horrible performance. It was terrible. The audio was bad. And it was just like Megadeth's performing for a bunch of wrestling fans.
I mean, it sounds as golden as you can get, TJ. No, the one thing that I've seen going through and finding these retro episodes for our episode riffs, a lot of the comments are like, I thought I had a fever dream and made this show up. it's like, thank God you included this. And the comments on one of them, the one that I really can't wait for you guys to watch with me, a lot of those were like, I thought I made this up. I tried to find this for years. Thank you for uploading this. Because, yeah, it's like some of this stuff is just so bizarre, and it lasted for such a quick window, and it never reaches syndication, and they probably then just burn the footage after the fact, and it's just like, God, I'm glad someone has archived this so that way I can remember it happened. Imagine living in a world, TJ, where you don't know that Cop Rock is physically a real thing.
Yeah.
And now you live in a world where you know with certainty that Cop Rock was a show that people snorted drugs and recorded put on TV.
It's like a lot of the old like cartoons, like the Saturday morning cartoons I would watch as a kid. Of course, there would be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters. Those are the two obvious ones. But there's also the unobvious ones, like I don't know,
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Well, Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, where like I sit there and it's like, oh, the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon could never there's never any DVDs, no DVDs would get released of it or whatever. And finally at Walmart one time they had like a DVD set and it lasted like one episode or like one season, like 6 episodes or something. It was it was a very short-lived cartoon. And then like they brought in those characters for the Dungeons and Dragons movie, in the background, just kind of an Easter egg for anyone who might have watched the Saturday morning cartoon, which I liked, but
there's a lot of cartoons from USA's I think it was called Cartoon Express or something like that.
Yeah.
Where the little promos between episodes was them riding on a train and it's all the characters interacting and some of them are poorly drawn. It's like
Space Ghost
I still remember there was a Mr. T one where it's him and some kids and they're solving mysteries, but there's also one I can't remember anything else about it. I just remember a guy would every now and then turn into a car. It's like you would see the transformation. It's just bizarre. I forget why he would. I don't remember what the title is. I just remember that the people that owned the video store over by where Sonic is, was that Video Visions? Is that what that was called?
Yeah, that's Video Visions.
So the couple that owned that every now and then would just record on VHS just large chunks of animated stuff and would give it to my parents and they'd give it to me. And so I would have this block of 3 hours until the tape cuts off of USA morning cartoons, and it's just I feel like half of the stuff is just insanity that I have to go look up to see if it's real. I remember there's one cartoon where it's kind of like Care Bears, but all the creatures are weird abominations of multiple characters. There's a bumblebee elephant and like a bear, some other crossbreed. It's just a bunch of crossbreed nightmares. And I forget what the purpose they were trying to convey. They were very colorful. But also one of the VHSs is the Alvin and the Chipmunks movie, which I have such a weird experience in memory of the Alvin and Chipmunk movie. I remember that it was at a point in my life where I guess maybe hormones were starting to kick in, and I felt a certain way about the female chipmunks. And they danced very seductively in that movie.
So was this the animated like it was actual cartoon? It wasn't like the CGI kind of animation thing?
No. It's an actual cartoon, and like the premise is there's the female chipmunks and there's the boy chipmunks, and they're in a competition.
Oh, okay.
And I forget what the competition is, but the females are basically, they have a manager who's an evil lady, and the chipmunks have, Tom or whatever his name is. That dumb
I was about to say John Arbuckle, but that's Garfield.
Yeah, I think it's Dave. Come on, Dave. But they're basically like traveling across the world. I forget why. And at some point they end up with a tribe that's very Indiana Jones. And not Raiders. What would that have been? What's the one with Kalima?
Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom. They have a moment that's very Temple of Doomish where I think they're about to get cooked in a big pot. But also, I can't remember if I'm also conflating this with the DuckTales movie, which I feel like has a similar plot and similar strokes, because I know that premise is they're in Aladdin for some reason, and they find a magic lamp, and there's a genie, and then there's tomfoolery from that, and those Bugle Boys. There are a lot of things from our childhood I wish I could go back. One thing I always like to remember is that there was a Tales for the Crypt Saturday morning cartoon.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Vaguely remember that.
Yeah, those kids didn't die as much as they would have done in the regular Tales from the Crypt.
That's what we need to watch is an old Tales from the Crypt episode.
I'm down. Hello, ghouls and gals. I know. Sorry, my Crypt Keeper came off kind of B. Arthur-ish.
Around Christmas time, we need to listen to the Tales from the Crypt Christmas album.
There's a Tales from the Crypt episode that is still vividly in my mind for several reasons. But it is a Tales from the Crypt retelling of the Three Little Pigs. And the reason it sticks out in my mind so much is that Bobcat Goldthwait is the voice of the wolf.
Oh, wow.
And I'm either making this entirely up and I'm being impacted by long-term COVID, or this did actually happen and I want to watch it. Because it was one of those Tales from the Crypt that wasn't scary, because it's all cartoon. It's an entirely Tales from the Crypt cartoon episode, but it's Tales from the Crypt HBO. So like there's violence, there's weird sexual stuff, but like he legit murders cartoon piggies. But it's one of those things with like, why that is going to be a memory that's seared into the back of my brain until I die. Until dementia clouds and destroys my brain, I'm always going to remember that Bobcat Goldthwait was the big bad wolf in the Three Little Pigs retelling from Tales from the Crypt, and that's a thing. There was also one with a puppet where ventriloquist dolls already make me very uncomfortable. So there is an episode about that. But
so there's an episode that I remember vividly. It's Travis Tritt was in the episode, and it's all about a doctor trying to harvest a soul gland. And the soul gland is apparently in the spine, and the only way to get it is to cut it out while the person is still alive, or like,
this all tracks.
Yeah, and it's like, because otherwise if they're dead, you can't harvest it because the soul leaves. Yeah. And it's like, this whole like episode is just weird, and like finally like somehow like Travis Tritt is like a truck driver or delivery guy or something, or security guard or something, and then he ends up becoming the victim, and they try to cut out the soul gland or whatever, and somehow his neck gets broke and spun all the way around. So like the very like end of it is Travis Tritt's head, like his back, where his skin's all flapped open, and the spine is there where they were trying to harvest the soul gland out of, and his head, and he's just going, ah.
There's some legit creepy crap from Tales from the Crypt. There's some very over the top campy crap.
Yeah.
I feel like it probably gets more cartoony as the seasons roll on, and I feel like some of that is the Freddy Krueger effect, where like all horror that kind of went on too long either dies an inglorious death or becomes too much of a shticky cartoon.
So speaking of shows that we could possibly watch on
Elmira,
there's some winners on Tubi, by the way, of shows. Like, I have to find one. There's one that's like Freddy's Nightmares or something, where it was like some kind of Nightmare on Elm Street series.
And Jason also had a series.
And then like there was, I mean, just some weird ass shows.
Yeah, Jason had a series too, where he does not appear in any of them, and it's basically just Goosebumps or Tales from the Crypt. Like, it's just basically anthology horror. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited to see where the retro TV riffing goes. But it's definitely something I'm very passionate about. I love TV, man. Stupid TV that I remember, TV that I've forgotten. All of the TV is so good.
Yeah,
and it's just pure garbage. Like, there's just so much pure garbage that's gold, man. It's gold.
Yeah, I mean, there's some doozies on Tubi.
But I also want to do some.
They don't have a good
cartoons
search.
too.
They don't have a good search function.
They don't
there.
Yeah.
So it's hard to find anything really, but yeah.
I find one Riff Tracks or one Mystery Science Theater, and then I just let it keep running until it puts me on something that isn't one of those, and then I do the search again. And usually it's pretty good. Every now and then it takes me to from Mystery Science Theater, it goes to some old shows that they would probably riff on, and one of them's I've heard, I know it exists. I knew it existed, but I've never seen it. But it's Monster Squad, and like that show is just a fever dream of crap too. Like, there's just so much going on in that's just over the top stupid. Like, someone watched Batman and was like, what if we make monsters? It's just like, all right. But it also feels like the Ghostbusters, like not the real Ghostbusters, the other one with the gorilla. Because like there's like nonsensical villains, and then there's like these the main protagonist are like, I'm all around American good boy. I hope we don't get into any shenanigans, and it's like, I'm evil and here's the shenanigans. Like, one of them is Queen Bee, and she's dressed as she's just a lady wearing a bee costume. But she makes a lot of bee puns, like bee related jokes. What has everyone buzzing around? That won't be as sweet, honey. So dumb. But I'm excited because we're on a 90s kick right now, which I think is awesome because I think the 90s is just rife with golden stuff. I love the 90s. I know we did an I love 90s thing one summer, but like I legit love the period of the 90s.
Miss the 90s.
It's so good, man. We had TV programming that was designed for your family, or you, or your friends and you, to sit down, take 2.5 hours, don't talk to anyone else except for commercial breaks, and watch like a string of like 6 shows.
The TV, you know, like all the TGIF stuff, you know, like Full House, Family Matters, Step by Step.
Step by Step.
And then like I don't think Fresh Prince was on the TGIF lineup.
It might have been. But then you also then it cuts into like America's Funniest Home Video.
Oh yeah. America's
red, white, and blue. The funny things you do, America, America. This is you. I'm Bob Saget. Let's see who gets hit in the nuts.
Dinosaurs. I miss dinosaurs.
Remember dinosaurs, because we're gonna watch something that was trying to copy dinosaurs and did the most horrific thing possible.
We got to do some like Power Rangers knockoffs, like Beetleborgs and.
Oh, I'm all down for what is it called? It's Super Samurai Cyber Squad.
Oh,
That
okay.
was my favorite. That was my favorite knockoff. But also Beetleborgs. There's also VR Troopers.
Yeah.
VR Troopers is another good one. Yeah, no, I'm down for that. But Super Samurai Squad is one of those ones that I feel like no one else knows but me, and I want people to remember. And also, one of the Lawrence brothers, I think, is the is the main protagonist, and you know he's cool. But like, I only remember it because I had rented the VHS of it one time, and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of cool." Like, is this on TV? Like, I don't know where to find this. But that was back in the day when you'd have to physically look in a TV guide printed booklet to see what was coming on that week. And so it was not an easy process of trying to find stuff.
Yeah.
So I just go rent it. But yeah, we gotta watch some old stuff that's good and some old stuff that's bad. There's a lot of cartoons that are offshoots of things that we love, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has countless animal-based abominations from hell. We'll watch some of those. Every time there was a good idea, there's going to be 25 ripoffs of said good idea.
Yep.
Done poorly, but we'll still have the guy who played the guy that played Uncle Phil. His voice will still pop up in it because that man did a voice job for everything.
Yep. He did a good Shredder.
R.I.P.
He did a great Shredder.
He did. I like Roku Sake. He was also in Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters, as the voice of Killer Watt, which he just sounds like Shredder. He basically just does the Shredder voice before he was Shredder. But yeah. All right, this has been good. TJ, we did it.
Yep.
We talked way longer than we thought we would, and now it's time to go watch stuff. If you've enjoyed our ramblings, God have mercy on your soul, and check out the rest of the stuff that we do. If you're listening on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, smash dingies. And if you're not, follow this podcast and share it. Show your grandma. We'll be a big hit with your grandma. All right, bye.
Grandmas love us.
Grandmas love us. Kid tested, grandma approved. Kids hate us. Grandmas love us.